Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a Houston Rocket video. We're going to actually talk about Danuel House Jr. It's been a while since we dedicated a video to him. If you guys enjoyed this video, you like NBA content, you like Rockets content, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Media Day is very soon, and thank goodness, because NBA content is so dead right now. So any love and appreciation you guys give, it is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, all my socials are down below. I wanted to make this video actually because I was on Twitter earlier today and I saw a tweet from Rob Kimbrell, and here was a proposed starting lineup that he had kind of put out, because a lot of people are anticipating, along with myself, the Houston Rockets starting lineup to be Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, Daniel Tice, and Christian Wood. Now, I think that will be the lineup, and I have no issue with that being a lineup because that's a pretty decent lineup in my opinion. But I did think that this alternative lineup, I think we can work with something here. I'm not saying the Rockets should deploy this every single night because, I mean, I'm about to tell you the lineup and you're going to be like, wow, that would get burnt by teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, like it would get burnt, like the Los Angeles Lakers would rip them apart. But for specific teams, maybe like even the Toronto Raptors, a lot of teams who, are either small or a little short-handed, whatever the case may be, deploying a lineup consisting of Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, Danuel House Jr., and Christian Wood might be beneficial, and I'll tell you why. Danuel House Jr. last season played in 36 games. He dealt with injuries, the whole shebang. It's safe to say that Danuel House Jr.'s his run here in Houston, I'd say it is pretty much over. Last season, he averaged 8.8 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 2 assists on 40.4% from the field and 34.6% from deep. Only shot 65% from the free throw line. If you really look into his statistics, it was a horrible season for Danuel House Jr. Now, his career point averages, it's only 9.2. In this last season, he averaged 8.8, so it's not like, if you look at all the box score statistics, I don't think you actually really see anything, considering he shot in his career, he's a 43% field goal shooter, so 3% below last year, not good. And then he's a career 36.5% three-point shooter, and you saw a drop in that last year as well, 34.5%. So that's a 2% decrease. Free throw percentage, can't talk right now. Free throw percentage 76.5% for his career, and then like I said, last year 65%. So in every category shooting the ball, he regressed, and I would say a decent portion of that had to be, I mean, yeah, you can throw in all the COVID stuff, the James Harden trade, all that kind of things. But here's the bottom line. When Danuel House Jr. last year was a starter, he averaged pretty decent shooting splits. Now, if you look at the game by game, like he averaged 9.2 points per game, 4.0 rebounds, 1.7 assists as a starter. If you look at his reserve stats, it's a slight drop, 7.9 points per game, yada, yada, yada. So we're not looking at that because with a player like Danuel House, especially, he's not very good defensively. You're more looking at the splits, and you're more looking at percentages to make sure like he is contributing to wins on your team. Keep in mind, he started in 23 games, came off the bench in 13, so it's a bigger sample size starting. You would anticipate maybe worse statistics because it was over a longer stretch. Complete opposite. As a starter last season, Danuel House Jr. averaged 45% from the field and 39% from deep. 45 from the field, 39 from deep. As a bench player, he only shot 33% from the field and 29% from deep. Now, yeah, you can bring in injuries and you can bring in a whole bunch of different things like I had mentioned. But if you really break it down, Danuel House Jr. last season we want to get him off the books as soon as possible because he doesn't fit in the long-term plans. So why not deploy that lineup of Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, Danuel House Jr., and Christian Wood whenever the opportunity, whenever the matchups make sense. Then off the bench, you have DJ Augustin, you got Eric Gordon, KJ Martin, Daniel Tice, and Alfred Şengün. So you still have a pretty good lineup. It's not like defensively you're all that bad. You still got Jayshawn Tate out there. Just because Danuel House Jr. is playing the 4, it doesn't mean you can't easily substitute Jayshawn Tate at the 4 and Danuel House Jr. at the 3. Basically, all I'm trying to say here is I do think Danuel House Jr. should start, not only because he is significantly better when he starts, but also for the fact that we're trying to trade him and you're trying to build his value up. And right now, I just told you the statistics. What was it? 33 from the field, 29 from deep. If I'm an opposing team and I'm seeing his bench statistics, let's say I'm a contending team, like the Los Angeles Clippers, I see those statistics coming off the bench, and it's like, well, why would I want to trade for him? Yeah, maybe I could, lowball him and get Danuel House Jr., but, like, if he's performing like that, why would I even want him? And us Rocket fans, we know the impact that Danuel House has, not only in the bubble, but he brings good energy, he brings good vibes, he tries hard. Like, he's just a good player to have on a roster. And if he's making his shots, he's a very useful player to have on your roster. So I definitely don't want to see Danuel House Jr. starting every single night, because I do want to see KPJ, Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate. I want to see them get their run, because that's the future right there. I also want to see more minutes to guys like KJ Martin, Alfred Şengün. So this is more of an every couple of game thing at max. But I do think it's in the Rockets' best interest. It's just for a whole multitude of reasons. Daniel Tice, fully capable of coming off the bench. He's probably only going to play 24, 25 minutes a night here in Houston anyways, as he has his entire career. Maybe 28 at max on any given night, or 30 max any given night. So why not let the big man get some rest here and there? Why not? So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. I really think that this is something that they will actually do. I do think this is a lineup they will deploy. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. That's it for today. Peace.